Update. Am I the a-hole for throwing my brother's prison trauma in his face to prove a point? Original post. My brother has always been an angry, hot-headed thug. Since he was a small kid, he showed violent behavior, idolized gangs, and would just generally be a prick to everyone. He's the kind of guy that goes on about respecting him and tries to intimidate everyone just because he can. When he was a teenager, it escalated dramatically, and our parents tried whatever they could to fix it. He started using drugs when he was 16. By the time he was 19, he went to prison for 2 years. Prison changed him. After he got out, he was not the same guy. He flinched when you touched him, slept with the lights on, and added an extra lock to the door of his room when he stayed with my parents. He was broken. He eventually had a full-blown mental breakdown where he started talking about what happened. It was about as bad as you expected. His combative nature isolated him day one and made him a target for all kinds of abuse this entire sentence. He's been in therapy for years. He's 32 now. He went back to school, met a nice woman, and is actually turning his life around. Our relationship isn't perfect, and it will never be fully healed, but he's trying to actually be a human being. The problem has been the last couple months. You can see it on his face, the way he acts. He's slowly going back to his old ways. He acts aggressive around mom and dad. When he's out, he tries to pick fights again. The people he hangs around with are known violent felons and suspected dealers. He had a girlfriend for about a year, but she left him because he started frequently screaming, throwing things around their apartment, and threatening to hurt her. It's obvious he's using again. He is slowly unraveling and throwing away years of progress. Our parents tried talking to him, offered rehab, offered for him to stay with them for some time. He flipped out at our parents, and after years of his crap, they simply walked away and blocked him for the time being. They spent years and countless dollars before and after his sentence to try and help him. They were done. I tried talking to him. His place was a mess, and he had empty alcohol bottles and pill containers scattered around his place. He got hostile very quickly when I pointed out the obvious and threatened me. I snapped and brought up what he told us about his prison time and told him it would all be waiting for him again if he doesn't fix his act, and that this time his family won't be waiting to help clean up his mess. It shut him down super quickly, and he just curled up on a couch and weakly told me to leave. I felt terrible since I brought it up, but he is gladly throwing away years of progress for the same crap that got him in trouble in the first place. He knows what prison is like, and he is doing everything he can to go back there. He's spitting in the face of everyone who went to bat for him, chasing the same highs that almost destroyed his life. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Tough love. Tough for you having to say it to your brother, and tough for him being reminded of that time. Not a-hole. Not a-hole. Sometimes you just can't help the drowning man who's slapping you away from saving him. Even if they're family, they're not worth it, despite the emotional connection. There are thousands of people who are in your brother's position, and they're actively trying their darndest to stay on course for their family, friends, and themselves. Not a-hole. Somewhere along the lines, he fell back in with bad people who had him relapse, and somehow he compartmentalized his past prison trauma, probably to justify his relapse and tell himself it's okay. You are giving him a loud reminder to wake up if he doesn't want to go through all that again. It may be tough, he may think you're the a-hole, but he probably 100% needed to hear it. I hope he reaches out to you, since you seem to still be open to contact, and asks for help so he can get better again. Now for the first update. Last night, my brother got high and trashed his apartment. He punched holes in the walls, destroyed furniture, and busted windows. Utterly destroyed his place. He tried kicking a neighbor's door in and throw rocks through their window when they yelled they were calling the police, and threatened to unalive them. Police came. He tries fighting them and got himself beat badly. They took him to the hospital. He calmed down for enough time to call me to the hospital. It was unintelligible, but I got the gist of it. And yes, I shouldn't have gone to see him. But by the time he got there, he had lost his mind again and was in 4-point restraints. He was screaming and practically feral. I couldn't even get any words in before I decided to leave. From what I can gather from the cops there I talked to, they found a ton of drugs. He assaulted a police officer, destroyed his apartment, and damaged a neighbor's front door and window, threatened to end a neighbor, tried to escape arrest, hit a nurse, bit a tech, and to top it off, he was already in trouble for sending threats to his ex. So yeah, he's going back to prison for a much longer time. I'm done with him. Our parents are done. Everyone is done with him. And frankly, I'm very okay with that since I finally am free of the stress he brings. He didn't learn a damn thing. I'd ask for the family to get together and address how he is to be handled going forward. Make your wishes known and explicit. You'll want to address your no contact with them as well, so they don't let on to how to locate you or contact info should you happen to move. That's not an issue. To clarify, the only person I'm going no contact with is my brother. My parents and extended family are joining in going no contact with him. Congrats on your parents being done with him. My husband has a brother who has done that kind of stuff his whole life. In and out of prison, and almost certainly unalived their beloved uncle. Their parents worship the ground he walks on, lifelong eternal golden child. He is the preferred invite to holiday events over my successful engineer husband and our family of 6. The evil one is older now and out of prison, currently living in the aging parents' home and running the show. I hope your family is great and loves him, and you can spend all the holidays at their place. F his parents. I hope they'll enjoy their old age in the hands of a psychopath who'll take all their pension off them. My mother covered up for my sister until the day she died, but my sister was nowhere like this. She was just an alcoholic that got enough DUIs to go to prison for a short time. Even then, our mother said she was in inpatient treatment. The golden child never does anything wrong. My mom went to prison for 4 years when I was 5. Grandma adopted me because my dad was not fit. I was never mad. Always made my whole schedule around going to see her on visit days, answering every single phone call. She got out, got back with my dad. 45 days later, she had to finish her sentence. She got 10 years total, but only had to serve 4. I will never forget jumping on my trampoline, being handed a phone and hearing her tell me she got drunk and high. I stopped jumping and told her I am done. I grew up that day. So no, you're not the a-hole. Some people never learn a thing, and they expect sympathy for having a pattern of horrible decisions. Now for the last update. It may not have been the best idea, but I decided to have one final talk with my brother the other day before I made my decision to cut him off. After his episode at a hospital, he has been locked up for the time being. No one has even attempted to bail him out. I have no idea about how charges or a trial are going, but it will take a while. As far as I can tell, there is some matter of determining a possible psych hold, but there's a lot of gray area with that, and I frankly don't have much of an idea how that works and won't get myself more involved to find out. We only got the chance to talk for a few minutes. I did visit. He called me over the phone. I straight up asked him what was going on. Why did he do this? What caused the slip the last few weeks? And the thing was, I was expecting some emotional response, a plea for help, maybe even some reasoning. But that didn't happen. Instead, he asked, why not? I asked what he meant by that, and he just kinda smugly laughed a little. He started rambling about how the bitch, his ex, should watch out for him when he gets out. I quickly reminded him that these calls are monitored, and he needs to watch his freaking mouth. He told me to go F myself, and he only called to see if I would post his bail. I was practically pleading, asking him why he was doing this. He got agitated, said he doesn't freaking care, started screaming how he doesn't need us. And you could hear him get into a scuffle with what I'm assuming was an officer watching him before the call got cut. I was practically speechless. He doesn't care, and maybe never did. Some people in the comments and DMs were making assumptions about myself and my parents, how he handled his behavior and mental health care. Ever since he was a kid, my parents spent every spare dime and minute of their lives trying to help him. Pediatric mental health care, therapy, group activities, extracurriculars, anything to try and steer him on the right path. They put me on the back burner for years because of him. Our relationship almost got tanked because they wanted to help him so much. When he got out of prison and had his breakdown, it was practically a clean slate for him. He never apologized for what he did. He didn't have to own up to his family for what he put us through. We all just try to help. And he took the second chance people would crawl over broken glass for and threw it in our faces. Well, good for him. He gets what he wants, to be utterly alone in prison. I'm no fool. He likes to push us far and try and reel us back in. But after this, I am truly and utterly done. Our parents are in the process of removing him completely from their lives. They are livid. He's spending a much longer time in prison, and if he ever gets out and looks for someone to help him pick up the pieces of his life, he's going to be sorely disappointed. We try to help. He didn't want it. I'll answer some questions if anyone had any for a few days before torching the account. To be honest, I feel it would be wise to be sure that when/if he gets out, there is no one for him to come crawling to. I don't necessarily mean move, though that might be smart if it's possible to accomplish, especially for the ex who was literally threatened in your conversation. But I think you and your parents, and everyone, need to make your worlds as though he no longer exists. He gets out. Family? He has none. These people don't know him. Friends? I'd be shocked if he had any before he landed his stupid butt back in prison, so that might not be an issue. But it's time to burn the final bridge. Torch it down. Ashes to ashes, OP. Honestly, I felt this so hard. My brother has been a lot like OP's, except he got into drugs early, and that has probably gave him mental health issues. He has stolen from family, friends, and has pushed everyone away due to him being on drugs. He's kept out on the bail my mom posted for him, and then when caught, wanted me to pay for his bail. But I said no. I say that because he only half-heartedly apologizes about it, but then a minute later will ask for something from you. He only cares about himself and doesn't care about anyone else, not even his kids. Unfortunately, by the time he gets out to the 2030s, our mother will more than likely be dead, and his kids might have kids of their own. He finally figured out that his actions have consequences. Some people are just born like that. It's not something that happened to them. We haven't really been able to find interventions to bring them back to live safely in the human community. And these people vacillate between outrage that they don't get to do whatever they want, and depression because their life sucks, and they cannot or will not grasp why. You all really tried. Now it's up to him to either stay in the system or get it together. Last story. Am I the a-hole for kicking my in-laws out of my house after they disrespected my late father's memory? I, 25 female, lost my father a year ago. He was the kindest person in the world and worked as an EMT. He died after being hit by a drunk driver while trying to help another driver with a car trouble. He was my hero and a huge part of my life. He became a widower father to me when I was 7, and he was the best dad anybody could ever ask for. To honor his memory, I keep a small shrine in our living room with his photo, some of his belongings, and a few of his favorite things, along with his urn. It brings me comfort and helps me feel like he's still with me. My husband, 30 male, has always been supportive of this, but his parents, both in their 60s, have never understood. They think it's morbid and unhealthy to keep such a display. They've made their opinions known multiple times, but I've always brushed it off, explaining it helps me cope. This past weekend, my in-laws came to visit. From the moment they arrived, they were making snide comments about the shrine. My mother-in-law said, "It's time to let go of the past." And my father-in-law chimed in with, "It's not good for your mental health to live in a museum of grief." I told them, firmly but politely, that the shrine stays and is not up for discussion. Things escalated quickly. When I left the room to take a phone call, they decided to take matters into their own hands. I walked back in to find them packing away my father's things into a box. I was livid. I told them to stop immediately and put everything back. They refused, saying they were helping me move on. I lost it. I yelled at them to get out of my house. My mother-in-law started crying, saying I was ungrateful and that they were just trying to help. My father-in-law called me hysterical and said I was disrespecting them. My husband tried to mediate, but I was too furious to listen. I told them they had no right to touch my father's things and that they were not welcome in my home if they couldn't respect my boundaries. I discovered as I was putting things back that some of my belongings I had placed on a shrine were gone. A small stuffed cat, his mat for Magic the Gathering, and a shot glass from screeching in when I went to Newfoundland with my mom before she died of cancer. All three things have very low value monetarily, but a lot of sentimental value. My husband has told me I'm overreacting over a molehill, and that I'm just sensitive because I was a daddy's girl when my dad was alive. I'm having a hard time letting go of my dad because we were so close. He was literally my best friend for the last 5 years of his life. I may be so swamped in my own grief that I was an a-hole over nothing. I'm confused and sad. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. I would be on my way to the local police department to get a no trespassing and to find out if what they did was considered a form of grave desecration, since this is literally where you have his ashes and the things he would have been buried with, had that been the route you chose. My next stop would be a lawyer to file for legal separation, since husband thinks it is fine for his parents to steal a dead person's effects. Your husband is the biggest a-hole here. He doesn't have your back. He let his parents put your father's belongings into a box while you were out of the room. They stole objects, and your husband is telling you that you are the problem? Screw him, not the a-hole. I think he may have instigated it. He may have complained, and his parents decided to take action. It is telling that he allowed it. My brother used to pull that same nonsense before he ended up divorced. Complained to mommy about wife. Mom comes to the rescue. Mom is the bad guy. Brother plays dumb. Is this the case here? Not a-hole. And F them all. Husband too. They're guests. They do not have the right to rearrange a single photo on a mantelpiece, let alone pack up and steal, /lose/break sentimental items. You can grieve as you choose. It is absolutely not their place to decide, while you are out of the room, to do anything like this. It's a year. Just a year. And it's not like you have given the whole house over to your wonderful father, or are living in a darkened room dressed all in black. This is a hill to die on, OP. Your husband is being so wrong. You being a daddy's girl makes his loss harder to bear, so he should have more compassion. Sorry for your loss, Hopi. I hope hubby can do something to save his own reputation with you, so he's not lost too. Also find out who took your property and get it back. Tell your in-laws that you will call the cops if your belongings are not returned by tonight. And sit hubby down and tell him in no uncertain terms will you let them in the house. If your husband can't support you in this, tell him to go back to his disrespectful parents. I'm sorry, OP, for your loss, and hugs from an internet stranger. I'm wondering if this was the reason for the visit all along, with the husband being in on it. Maybe I'm just too cynical about this, but it seems too abrupt to be a spur-of-the-moment action. How did they suddenly come up with a box? Right? Like they thought it was some kind of intervention and the husband grossly miscalculated. Yeah, I agree with this line of thought. OP, you are not the a-hole here, and we all think your husband was part of this plan. Tell them you'll be calling the police if your belongings aren't immediately returned to you in their original condition, and tell your a-hole husband he's welcome to go home to mommy if your dad's memory is too intimidating for him to live with.